Alright, listen right here. This plan, it better work. We just need the right people in the right places at the right time, alright? That's what this is all about. That's how the heist works. Question is though, what kind of people should we get? Where should they be? And when should they be? Although everyone asks who these people are, what are they capable of? No one asks how are they, because that's not what's important in a heist. What's important in a heist is, can they do the job? And can they do it well? Welcome back. Welcome back to Runehack Development Stream number 438 and a half. That's right. We are back. And we are at it again. With the document that still looks kind of crap, but that's part of the development process. I have started to experiment on something brand new. I'm not sure if you've noticed just yet. Look over here. This number doesn't work yet. That's because this is supposed to be the page number. I have to insert it everywhere manually, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that this is a game changer. This will work once I get it to work. Alright, with that out of the way, let me switch to actual playlist of music. Oh, I forgot to rewind that one. Indeed, indeed. Okay. Last we left off, we had a lot of stuff ready, and we still are missing some stuff here and there. First of all, there's a tiny detail I noticed I am missing. Lifestyle levels. I have no idea as of yet how I could increase those, but I want to figure it out over time. And there's the fact that I am missing all the apps. Well, not all of them. Some of them are worked out. They could use more upgrades. Maybe upgrades that are written in a more convenient way. And I feel like I need more upgrades still. Let's get to Lucy. To create an unmoving image of an item you describe, you can use an action to reposition the image to the target place up to one area away. Each illusion is labeled with a die that is reduced by 1 at the start of every turn. I think I should be able to rephrase that into the ability. Alright. Making progress. Let's just make the music a teeny tiny bit quieter. Just have gotten pointed out a technical difficulty. Okay, yeah. No, wait, that should be fine. Let's see. Testing. Maybe if I talk small, a little quieter, is not opening. Okay, yeah. The mouth can open randomly when I make a teeny tiny sound that happens to be picked up despite my noise reduction. Like for example when I bumped my finger against the table. That was it. Yeah, not much I can do about that. Unless I would get better noise cancellation somehow. Another problem that I am well aware of is when I bump into the microphone. But from what I've been told, that is something that can be heard, at least when I am in a call through Discord. Right then. Hex. How do I upgrade the Hex? Choose the target Runehack device as a target. You can attempt to control a device using this app. Whenever you do, roll 1d6 on a roll that's less than or equal to the number of rounds for which you've been using this app. Your app's effects and immediately on your attempts to use the app will fail automatically on your next turn. Okay. Control to connect to one device when you. How do I phrase it elsewhere? Okay, I think that's good enough. Oh, the enhance is already written. Using this app is physically straining. At the start you can use it uninterrupted for one turn, and you recover it after not moving for a turn. The duration extends by 1 for every 2 upgrades you own. Yeah, okay, that works. Now influence, that's gonna be a bit more difficult. I feel like maybe I should remove the cost for using apps, because here, in this iteration of the game, it's like it's hard to define how much you are using the apps, and I am encouraging players to use apps for prolonged periods of time. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Actually, and if I were to make it 2d6? I don't know. Okay, you know what? Math time. Okay, I think this might be it. Mhm. Now just not sure how to combine them, but maybe that's not gonna be necessary. Okay, my idea is this. Your influence on a person starts at 1, and you are trying to roll less than or equal to some amount. The longer you are focused on one person, the more you understand them. So it starts off at 16.67%, which is okay, but you know what, let's start it at 2 instead, 33%. That's pretty fine. Then it goes up to 50, 66%, maybe 83, I am not so sure. Then again, what I wanted to do is that at 6, he would switch to the 6, which is kind of crap. I'm trying to work out how this could work in a way that would still increase it, make it go up. I see that 41%, number 6, is right beneath 3. Maybe 27%? No, the only way to do it is 6. So bumping from the influence from 2 to 6 just feels a little silly. Okay, maybe influence starts at 5, but then again, why would influence start at 5? influence starting at 9 also feels a little weird. Okay, you know what? It's time to pull out the dice and see if I come up with something. Every player in this game, I would assume, to have 3 6-sided dice on them, since that's what's used in a core resolution. I am considering adding the option of advantage and disadvantage, either adding an extra die or removing a die, which would depend on how you are using it and so on and so forth. Alright, okay. I roll the dice, I get 3, 4, 5. Rolling 3 dice on this feels... Well, it feels like it should give me a natural, the bell curve, but I don't know. Then again, the influence action starting off at... What was it? Okay, whatever. I think I have an idea. Rolling just 3d6 all along. But what if... I made it -10? No, nah. You know what? It would be much easier to just say that influence started at 10 because the app has some kind of database or some shit like that. The point is just, if I start at influence 0, or should I say 10, that's gonna be a coin flip to see if your app works or not. Then there's gonna be a relatively huge leap up with the first point of influence, up by 12.5%, and then further up just a smaller amount, and then smaller, diminishing returns. Do you really need to profile someone completely? Or is profiling of 16 good enough? I think that's gonna be it. What should I name the profile of a character? Like, how well you know someone? Part of me says familiarity, understanding, and comprehension could be good. Grasp would be very fitting, but sadly I cannot go with that because I already have the grasper ability. Comprehension, hold, apprehension, awareness, grip, knowledge, insight? Let's go with familiarity instead. For now, it's good enough. Right, it's really worthy. I don't like it, but it's better than nothing. I have an idea. Okay, I think this works. This finally works. Right, that's the 6, I think, core apps they have. Grasper, Domain, Lucy, Hex, Enhanced, Sway. That is a very good start. The problem is that I don't have many good ideas beyond that. What I do have an idea for, though, is another aspect of being a fairy, which I think I'm gonna add somewhere up here. Yeah, before team creation. Or maybe... Oh, wait, I have an idea. Mm. 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 I don't know if I want to include the lore aspect in it, because I'm thinking of maybe introducing another thing similar to specialty, like mastery or something, which would decide what kind of information do you get first. Everyone in the group gets to be the best at some information gathering activity. Oh. I guess that works. Especially if I were to include a sixth one. Now masteries. What could the masteries be about? Part of me wants to say biology really bad here, but I know that that's not how it would be called in the world of Runehack. And I don't have space to explain that here. So something else. And I still need one more specialty. I want to say something like noticing events, because there's always that one friend you have who is like, oh yeah, listen, this singer will be coming to the city soon. Well, soon, next year or something. And he will be like, how do you know? Well, because I follow their Instagram, and there they link their stream and so on and so forth. I should order them alphabetically. Oh. What other domains? That's the dilemma, isn't it? Let's see. I should probably just be picking stuff like that up from my previous game. Previous Runehack game. Right, over there I went with materials and tools and subjects. Anthropology, culture, economics, history, law, mathematics, philosophy, physics, politics, psychology, religion, zoology. Hard to make my mind up on these. But I know that these are meant to replace your typical mental stats. Intelligence for this, and not charisma, wisdom for this. Because I feel like it's not that vitally important to the game. Think of it this way: when you have a room in which you have something hidden, right? You don't usually you usually expect someone to find whatever is hidden within, right? That's what you have high charisma, high wisdom players for. Well, here's the thing. What if nobody finds it? Oh well, I guess that's just gonna stay hidden there. If it was vitally important for the game, then it's gonna be like, why did you ask them to roll for it? Well, because you asked to roll for everything else also. I think if your players are told outright, only on some specific items that they are there, I think they will catch on to it, maybe subconsciously, without realizing. Oh yeah, this must be important because we noticed it right away. How about just doing this? How about telling the most perceptive player, oh, there's something hidden in here, you might eventually find it. I think that would be better than just leaving it up to chance. But that's my own personal opinion. The problem is that Runehack rules are not inspiring me to put anything more here. Maybe like religion, but that's super obscure and won't be relevant all along. I think better one would just be culture. Maybe law? Do I want the law to be there? A lawyer fairy? History. Let's see, maybe I can find more inspiration elsewhere. Clues and hunches. Chemistry, culture, electronics. I already have culture and electronics, technically. Fashion, gastronomy, history, illustration, military, movies, music, physics, psychology, superstition, tailoring, theater. Okay, just gonna leave this for a moment and let's see if I can shorten the paragraph above. That's the same. Pretty much the same. There we go. Wow, beautiful. When creating your characters, everyone may pick one unique specialty and one unique mastery. Your GM uses these to pick which player receives relevant information. Very good. Now let's see, clues and hunches. We have some special powers in there. Maybe that could be inspiring? Ask a dead person one question. Read a person's thoughts through touch. Sense person's emotions from their face. I do have reading emotions in there. I also have predicting reactions. Put someone to sleep with a touch, revert time 5 seconds back. Glimpse the future, but you can't share it. Talk privately to someone you see or know. Gain a domain until you move 10 meters. Get someone to answer a question truthfully. Part of me wants to say noticing lies or detecting lies, but I don't know. Yeah, okay, this did not inspire much in me. Maybe a different game of mine. Let's check out Final Survivor, Descent of the Holy. The 6 feet under. I should really think about updating that eventually. All tricks considered, as well as the Pirate Sea. Pirate Sea, that should be somewhere in here. Ah, there it is. Oh, and all tricks considered, I should also open from my computer. What? Do I have the 6 feet under downloaded? I don't. And I know already that it's gonna have not that many useful things to me. Maybe Descent of the Holy. That could have some inspiring stuff, possibly. So let's check that. And game. Got that. Okay, let's start with Descent of the Holy. And you know what, since it's a free game, we all get to see it as well. That's right, I am that kind to you. Descent of the Holy is a game about dungeon delving priests who are trying to clean the catacombs of skeletons. Yay. Except they also have to deal with their own sin, because even the priests can be tempted. It's just human, part of human condition. Now, if I were to remake this game, which I eventually probably will, one thing I would change for sure is this. I would, instead of saying species, I would make it different body types. And that is simply why it was included here. That's simply because it was part of the challenge that I took on, which was to take 3 random words and make a game out of them. And wouldn't you know it, 2 of the words I got were dwarf and elf. Yay. Now, stats in this game I solve in a very interesting way. Sure, they are basically intelligence, basically social, basically strength, and basically agility plus luck, but they are all uh, described in a way of a what's it called, heavenly virtue, or just sin in case of the luck. Fairness, yeah, you have to be very reasonable to be fair. Altruism, you have to care for others. Courage, so it's about strength and stuff. And temperance is about avoiding. Look, that's the one that fitted dexterity the most, so I went with that. Oh yeah, and your sin can increase or decrease over the course of the game dynamically based on your actions. So if you are biased or dishonest, unjust, or prejudiced towards other people, your fairness can decrease and your sin will increase by the same amount. Same goes for pretty much everything here. All the 7 deadly sins are hidden somewhere in there. Except for lust. I will be honest, I really don't want to include lust in my tabletop role-playing games. Let's replay the album again. Because then it's gonna encourage people to be like, oh, horny bard meme. Wow, so cool. Anyway. Okay, so this is one of these things. Each of the priests can carry one item with them downstairs, another item extra if they are a dwarf also. Warhammer is for beating up the undead, shield is for reducing wounds, relic is the key, which you should be bringing downstairs with you every single time, because it protects an entire floor of the catacombs from the skeletons. And finally there's Aspergillum, which is just a super weapon against undead, different from Warhammer. You can also bring other stuff, of course, and everyone also brings a holy symbol, you know, like a cross. Now then, this is the part that should hopefully inspire me. Because part of the game is fighting undead, sure, but another significant part is the prayers. And that's all of them, so let's have a look. Bless the unfortunate. Whenever one person you choose rolls a 1, they may roll again and add the roll to the previous result. This keeps going until they don't roll a 1. Oh yeah, okay. In other words, if I were to roll something with a d6, and let's pretend I just rolled a 1, oh no, what am I gonna do? Well, since I am blessed, I have the blessing of the unfortunate. I am blessed because I am unfortunate. I get to roll again, and once you know it, I happen to roll 1 definitely for reals again, which means I add it to the previous result. I already have 2, and now I rolled a 2 on the die, so that's 1 plus 1 plus 2. I rolled a total of 4, which is way better than the result of 1. What could also happen here, fun fact, is that if you roll a 1 as a first roll, and then as your second roll you roll a 6, the total is gonna be 7. You just rolled 7 on a d6 because you were blessed for being unfortunate. Moving on. Consecrate the altar. Warding an altar from a room with Aspergillum 3 times while praying. This prayer renders the ward permanent. Yeah, so this is a risky move that you can attempt. It's basically ensuring that the game will... I think of it like a save file, because part of this game is skeletons retaking the entire floor of a crypt that you already protected with a relic, and you have to fight them again and again and again. The game will win if you go through all 7 floors and bring relics to them, and this will hopefully help with protecting the relic permanently. The only catch is that Aspergillum has 5 uses. So in order to do that, you still need 3 uses, which you need to do possibly as you are fighting undead. And yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have, but risky to pull off, probably. I don't know. I will be honest with you, this game is free, in part because I did not playtest it yet. Maybe one day. Defend the Holy, gain at most 2 wounds in any turn, sure. Douse the Multitude, regain 1 Aspergillum use after 2 uses. In other words, you are praying and getting back your Aspergillum uses, which is cool. It's that thing that sprinkles holy water, for those who did not know. I certainly did not know before I wrote this game. Now I remember, because I wrote it. So this could in theory work well with this. Moving on. Ward the relic, 1 altar you choose can't be disturbed, you can't heal wounds while praying this. Yeah. Oh, this is a prayer that you can use outside of the crypt in your downtime. You are praying for protection of this and this floor, which comes at the risk that you are not healing wounds. I don't think I have a healing prayer here. Let's see. Show the path. You know the way to this floor's altar, and if it's guarded, you also light up the room. Yeah, this one is multifunctional, pretty nice, and maybe I could use it here. Bingo. There we go. Beautiful. Do I want to specify that it's city history or world history and so on? Maybe, or maybe not. Let's see, anything else here? At least for fun. Rescue the lost. A dead body is restored back to life, unwounded, if 3 priests pray this prayer over the body for 3 days. This will shatter a random relic in the crypt. In other words, all that progress that you got, even if it was permanent, even if someone else was protecting it, screw it. If some NPC dies and you, or PC even, if some character dies and you want to bring them back to life, it's gonna cost you part of your progress. It's just, I think it's fair enough, because bringing back people from the dead should not come cheap. Anyway, moving on, release the sin. The person you choose is absolved of a sin they confessed to you, provided it wasn't committed today. If the target is another priest, reverse the sin's effects. Okay, now one might be wondering what's with the arbitrary limitation of not committed today. The reason for that is simply that it would be really convenient if you were to, say, commit a sin, max out your luck for the rest of the dungeon crawl, be bombastic, fantastic at everything, and then suffer no consequences, because as soon as you leave the crypt, you are like, oh, I regret all my sins. Absolve me, please. No, no, no. If you increase your sin that much, you will have to live with the consequences. Part of the burden, if someone gains at least 1 wound, you can lower their wounds by 1 and gain 1 wound yourself. And so, taking on wounds from the others, and the power, a person, including yourself, rolls twice with the stat you choose and keeps 1 roll. Yeah, that one is basically advantage. Exorcise the Many. After you spend 3 rounds praying and presenting the holy symbol, you destroy half of all skeletons in your room. Very cool if there are lots of skeletons in the room right now. And the Unholy, after presenting your holy symbol and praying for a round, you roll with your altruism. You destroy the rolled tally of skeletons in your room, not just close. Okay, so what's a tally? Basically, I will have to explain how the dice work here. Yes, that's a d24 and d16. I know those dice are not real, but they are real, I'm telling you. DCC has them. I've seen them on Amazon. I own 2 of each of those. What I'm trying to say is, whenever you roll for a stat, you roll that stat plus the sim die. You add them together, and tally is keeping just the first number, the last digit. If you roll 31, the tally is 3. Roll the most relevant stat and your sim, add the dice together, and divide them by 10, double any tally counted in a room that's lighted up. Oh yeah, so you also multiply it if... yeah. I also rarely forget about that, it lights up the room, which is pretty convenient for dungeon crawling stuff. An easy task might require 1 tally, while a hard task could require a tally of 4. The exact amount is determined by the GM depending on the task. Yeah, 4 is not that likely. Maybe 3 should be a difficult task instead, but whatever. I wrote the game, this is how it is for now. There are elves and dwarves in it because of the prompt. I'll have to live with that. At least until I update it. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, you roll one of your stats and you roll sin. You roll sin every single time because it's part of your luck. Having high sin sounds like a good thing, but it's, in the end of the day, a bad thing. So why is releasing the sin limited to sins that you did not commit today? Because you could commit the sins, be a coward, be cruel, be jealous, angry, be unjust, and so on and so forth. You max out your sin because you want it, you want so much sin, and then after you leave the dungeon, you will go, oh yeah, I regret all my sin, everything is returned, I don't need to have this anymore. No, you have to live with it. Anyway, tally is just the first digit. And why is having sin that bad? First of all, Undone Relics. At each midnight, GM rolls the highest of players' sin dice. On a roll of 5 or more, the skeletons shatter the lowest relic they'd reach that day. In other words, if the dungeon has 7 floors, and players have a relic on first 4 floors, they will reach the floor number 4. Wow, I did not do that on purpose, but I guess I'll have to live with that as well. They reach the floor numero 4 and destroy its relic. Because someone had a sin that was too high. Also, every die has a minimum of d4, that is including the sin, so if you have no sin, you will be fine. The question is, does anyone in the party have sin? And how much? Because this could add up. This could add up quite a lot. Oh, I forgot this is a thing. So what are the chances that you have broken the relic because of your sin? 33% chance if it's a d6, 50% chance if it's a d8, 60% chance if it's a d10, 66 if it's a d12, 75% chance if it's a d16, 80% chance if it's a d20, and 83% chance if it's a d24. Yeah, the chance goes lower. Oh wait, like this. Yeah, that's more like it. It does not lower. Diminishing returns. The higher the sin is, the less the growth of the probability. But on the other hand, it's a problem for everyone if anyone in the party has any sin. Oh, wrong page. Any sin. Another thing that sin defines is adding skeletons. If the dice roll equal numbers. I wrote that wrong. I think if the dice roll equals numbers. Oh, if the dice roll equal numbers. Okay, I get it now. Yeah. You are rolling multiple dice all the time, right? If any of them match, that's the word I should have used. If any of them matched, I rolled a 2 and a 5 that doesn't match, 3 and a 4, 1 and 4, 4 and 6, 3 and, no, 6 and 6. Alright, since they match, a number of skeletons equal to the same dice roll enters the current room. So 6 skeletons just entered my room. Oh no. When preparing the crypt, roll the highest of players' sin dice for each room guarded by skeletons. In other words, once again, one bad apple and it's all gone wrong. Keep the game simple by having the skeletons stay in their rooms. Yeah, that's because I know in old school you have all these things about the wandering monsters and mega dungeon cultures and so on. Over here, I wanted to keep things as simple as possible. All the skeletons simply stay in their rooms. Anyway, I have some special types of skeletons here, I have some room descriptions, and finally we have some downtime stuff. City matters. Roll the highest of players' sim dice daily, refer to the table below to see what's up in the city. Yes, once again, the highest sin is gonna mess stuff up. Let's see, we have a holiday, which is cool, festival, also fine, a wedding, pretty nice, ad-libbed homily, someone wasn't prepared, you know, a prankster child, you know, not a big deal, a long confession, which is really boring to listen to, but you have to, because it's your job, caring for the ill, yeah, that's something that you have to do also, a cheating couple, ooh. Now things are getting spicy. A harmful person. Ooh. Oh no. And finally, stray skeletons. Some of them escaped the crypt, and you have to deal with them. Oh no. Over here. Oh yeah. I advised the player to use cards as rooms, which I think it is really cool. Maybe I should find a way to use cards in Fairy Heist for the rooms, but I don't know yet how. Plus, translating it all, I feel like it would be more work than it's worth. Maybe a better approach would be to make my own cards and lay out the rooms based on that. Either way, you lay out the cards, the suits determine what kind of stat it is a temptation for, so wait, how is altruism? Cruelty, envy, humiliation, pride. Oh yeah. So if you are cruel to weak skeletons that cannot hurt anyone, you are just gonna, you have an opportunity to be really cruel towards them and destroy them and so on. Fairness, this is about prejudice and stuff. I guess I figured the best thing here would be necromantic scriptures. I don't know, now I don't feel it much, but that's something I could do in an update if I do that. Extremely dark room, yeah, one could be afraid of that. And temperance, gifts for the dead, more like for me. Unholy idols ready for destruction? Yeah, sure, if you are wrathful and so on. In other words, yeah, these are supposed to be temptations for the players. Maybe a GM could match them much better to a player by knowing their characters than I do by writing the rules. The ranks are used for stuff like corridors and all. Contents of a room rely on the card drawn. Each floor can have only one stairway and one altar. Each floor's first room is also a stairway. Okay, so I guess if I draw a jack or a queen, it's gonna be the altar, and the other one I would draw and place on that same floor would not be? I don't know. Shorter edges of a card have a priority in determining the entrances of the room to the room. In other words, this should not be laid out as a grid with all the cards turned the same way. You should maybe zigzag it a little. We have some corridor types. I see the skeletons are always on the odd cards. 3, 5, 7, 9, Jack, King. Technically Ace should be also that, but stairs. Stairs are pretty important. Okay, let's have a look at the skeleton guidelines, because that's gonna be also pretty fun. Before I actually do that, let's see, wounds. You start with 0 wounds. If your number of wounds ever surpasses your faith, you die. Faith, that's... Oh yeah, faith, that's the number of floors you have already conquered before. It doesn't go down if they destroy the relic, it just goes up. If your number of wounds ever surpasses faith, you heal 1 wound by helping others outside of the crypt for a day. So that is fine. How do you get wounded in this game again? Okay, you may act before the skeletons do. If you roll with courage, your roll with courage is at least 5. 5 to make a roll using either your fairness, altruism, or courage. You destroy the rolled tally of skeletons close to you. When the skeletons attack you, make a roll using your temperance. So temperance is one of these things, and the rest is for attacking. You roll with your temperance without your sin. You gain 1 wound for each skeleton close to you, reduced by your rolled tally. If your temperance is therefore d4, d6, d8, yikes, that's not good. If it is d10, d12, d16, you have some chance. If it's d20 and d24, that's already much better. Yeah, and that's how that works. As for destroying the skeletons, you destroy the rolled tally of skeletons close to you. So whatever your sin is, that's also playing a factor, and whatever the attacking stat that you are using is. I think it's straightforward enough, so let's see. Use the sixes to track how many are close to each character. Character must move into his room, blah blah blah. Okay, let's have a look at the variants. Aegis. A skeleton with a shield can't be destroyed with Aspergillum. Yeah, because it holds up its shield. A bifurcated skeleton. It has extra body parts and it deals 2 wounds instead of 1. Bone Addictus. I am not sorry. A skeletal priest. While it prays, no skeletons in the room can be destroyed. You have to destroy him first. Actually, you have to stop him from praying first. Chief. Several skeletons. Counts as 1 when counting how many are close to a character. Oh, okay, yeah. So that you can have other skeletons also beside the chief, but chief counts as more than 1, kind of like bifurcated plus. Cryptic. A harmless builder. Changes the floors and the layout daily. Never reanimates after it dies. Thumbs up if you recognize that reference. Exoskeleton. A skeleton is covered in metal. Can't be destroyed with a warhammer. Ooh. So we have already 1 immune to Aspergillum, 1 immune to warhammer. Raises 1 skeleton on its turn. That's gonna be pretty bad for players. Skeleton Gnome, a small skeleton of species long gone, steals someone's item, which can be a problem if he steals your holy symbol, or if he steals the relic. The Wise Skeleton, a clever skeleton, it knows the prayer's effects and will try to stop them, up to you how. And finally, Xyloton, a skeletal bard that plays its ribs like a xylophone. At the end of each round, roll 1d6. It disrupts all players on a roll of 5 or higher. Yeah, I think that's fun. That's dope. It doesn't have to be taken too seriously, and I think it's pretty alright. It has its flaws, it could be improved. I could get rid of the dwarves and elves and the gnomes, but as it is pretty fine. Now then. Where was I? Here, masteries. Let's have a look here. Skills: deduce, fix, hurt, hide, play, push, rush, sway, trick. Yeah, okay, Final Soul Survivor won't be helpful there. Project Open Seas. This one. Diverse Combatant, Iconic Decree, Terror, Crossed Blades, Stalling Speech, Heavyway, Brute Force, Craftsmanship, Manual Labor, Patchwork, Charted World, Punisher, Cannoneer, Weapon Breaker, Eye for Detail, Freeform Movement, Focus. Okay, let's have a look here. Navigator. Can swim without being slowed down. You can accurately recall a map if you have studied it for at least a minute. When the GM rolls weather, roll 1d6. Blah blah blah. Whenever you arrive on an island, you can roll lore. On a hard success, the GM informs you whether there is treasure on this island and provides a riddle or a cryptic hint about its location. Eye for Detail. When you take the exploit action, you may pick 2 stats instead of 1. Allies adjacent to you are automatically granted the benefit of this action. Focus. As an action or an advance, you can focus. If you do, you have advantage on rolls until the end of your turn. Intuitive Guidance. While not in a conflict, you can name something you're looking for and roll lore. The GM determines if it requires an easy, hard, or brutal success. If you succeed, you know where to find it. You can't use this ability twice for the same subject or in the same location. Masterful forecast, that's just weather prediction. Calculated move. Once per turn as an action or as an advance, you can concentrate on your next course of action. Your next roll has advantage except you can replace the additional die with your lore. If the roll fails, your advance or action isn't spent. And finally, perfect read. Target the character you can see. Gain 2 benefits of either predict or de-exploit action. Against the target you can discern the emotional state and whether they try to conceal their emotions. These benefits last until the end. Okay. How about Quartermaster? Maybe that one has something. Additional crew action. Slash advance. Roll presence against the target ship. Ship is hooked. Lead with an example. Old friends. Ooh. Roll presence or cunning. On a success, one present non-player character of the GM's choice, and not your ally, turns out to be a secret ally you've hired. The GM may introduce a new character as the ally instead. The secret ally will fulfill one request by you that won't endanger them. I think that is cool. Not sure if I could implement it here, but it is a cool one. More water. I will have to get a refill soon. Choose the type of action. These actions roll automatically fail if the target is you or an ally adjacent to you. This lasts until the start of your next turn. Target that was killed within the last round. The target takes a turn immediately after yours. If they wound or kill their killer, they are revived. It does not fit my favorite Heist game, but it is cool nonetheless. Iconic Decree. Choose 2 crew action. As an action, you can command the crew to take both of them immediately. Crew actions, naval battles, individual conditions, no roll, presence, lore, cunning. Okay, let's have a look. Exploit. Identify a target's weak spot. The next die you roll against them automatically explodes. You can grant this benefit to an ally by sharing the information. The target must immediately inform you what advance and action they will take on their next turn, and it must follow through. Yeah, okay, that's not as useful as I was hoping. Ship stuff. Treasure. Anything useful I can find in treasure? You understand all ancient writing and symbols. That is really tempting, but also a bad idea for me. Because languages don't play such a great role in this game. I literally came up with a lore excuse to have just one language. Now let's see. Mimic any voice. Breathe underwater. Speak with the corpse and ask it 5 questions. Nice reference again. Reroll failed lore roll. Increase die size by 1 step when using this item. Once per session, ask a yes or no question. It whispers truth. Can't be lost, stolen, or destroyed. If you die, it reappears on your new character. Once per session, pass through solid objects for a turn. Yeah, this is not helping much. Okay. Let's think. The inspiration for the masteries was the Heart, the City Beneath, which is a beautifully made game that I don't think I want to play. Despite everyone being like, oh, the players will love it, I don't know. Felt kind of depressing to me. And the point I wanted to get to is they have domains which are like areas of knowledge which the player characters can specialize in. And there was stuff like mechanical or abandoned and so on, kind of like room types. In this case, I'm thinking maybe they could be groups of people, possibly. Wow, such a great change. Hmm. Let's have a look at the lore section of the Runehack RPG. Factions. We have the Acumen, who are secretive whistleblowers and kind of a minor faction. The Grand Republic, which is a pretty major faction. We have Kingdoms and two mega corporations. Kingdoms. Let's just put it in for now. And finally we have the minor factions, which might be more interesting to us. Distributed worldwide, each one with its attitude towards the megacorporations. Labor League, which stands up to them. Loyalists, who are for the kingdoms. Maybe instead of masters, this could be more like a faction. But then again, I don't know. I don't want players to belong into different factions. I think instead of that, I will make it so that players are... Maybe players have come from those factions or something. I'm not 100% sure yet. Close enough. It's not as beautiful as before, but it is... Histories? Oh boy. colors. Mm. Okay. What sixth thing? Hackers activists. Yeah, for now let's put it like that. Yeah, I guess this will do. But organized alphabetically? Wow. Alphabetically. Mm. Ah, okay, let's play a little bit of a heist music. Just so I get into the mood again for more abilities. Because you see, for this kind of job, we need special people with special capabilities. That's right, you thought that fairy burglar creation was done? It is merely started. Because we still have a whole bunch of space that I will need to fill in. And I have just the thing that can do the trick. See, I think I can move this. Actually, no. Okay, idea. This will go here. Perfect. And this gets to be extended Buy fairy abilities. There we go, here they are. Not like this. Oh yeah, okay, this doesn't work outside of GM Binder. How does GM Binder do it though? I wonder. Is it gonna be in all tricks considered? I feel like it will be. But right now I cannot think of where. It doesn't seem like it is there. Nope. Maybe. Oh yeah, this end of the hallway, that should have it. Oh yeah, okay, it is in the carry. So this is HRUL. Except in my case, I think I'm gonna make it something special. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Copying someone else's homework. Okay. Where was I? My notes. Here we go, here they are. Eye-catching. Okay, I don't think I have space to explain what North Call is. You can detect the presence. Oh, more music. Hmm. Okay. And one more healing. It's long. I need to shorten it for sure. For short. Okay, how do I shorten it? That's the question. Let's go back to that Action Voice soundtrack. See, here's the thing. I've been trying to avoid labeling stuff as actions because I did not want to imitate stuff like D&D or DC-20, Pathfinder, and so on and so forth. And yet, despite that, I still have actions here. I just, instead of calling them actions, I call them significant actions, which makes the term even longer. Unnecessarily. So you know what? I'm just gonna accept it. Heist. You can perform 3 significant actions in return. That's where I will keep it, because performing significant actions means that there are some actions that are not significant, you know? Choosing if you're heard by everyone in the area or only someone near you. Examples of actions. Okay, good enough. There we go, shorter. Oh boy, that's gonna take a while. I don't know if I can shorten this one. Eye catching is just... It will just have to be that long. Well, at least this one is shorter now. Yeah, okay. You cannot distinguish people, animals, magnets, and lightnings just by this, because let's be real here, what you are sensing in this case is magnetic fields. I will actually rename it to North Call, just as a callback. And let's move it to the end. Let's move this to the end also. Eye-catching bioluminescent swimmer. A healing. Okay, it is better. I could remove the plant ability part, make it shorter, but I think it's already alright as it is. Boom. Even better. Better than ever before. I still did not fit in lifestyles anywhere. Well, shit. Okay. That's a good stretch. Let's say your weight is equal to double your height. You know what's funny about the lifestyle? If the player's lifestyle begins at 2d6, he could invest 1 die to have a multiplier of 1, well, multiplier of 2 actually, and try to roll a die. Would you look at that? 2 times 3, that is 6 credits, which is equal to what I would earn otherwise. It is not much though. I still feel like I could improve it somehow. I just don't know yet how. But yeah, lifestyle I think is gonna have to start at 2. Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know where to include the lifestyle leveling or how to improve the work to make it earn more than a couple of credits a day. Or hell, I don't know how to improve the heist to make stealing more advantageous than just this. Even if you were playing the tallest possible fairy at 16 centimeters, that's just equal to 6 plus 6 plus 4, I believe. So at best you are coming home with 52 credits. Spoken with the cadence of 500 cigarettes. Let's see, what kind of dice, because I love rolling dice that you cannot see, what kind of dice setup do I need to earn 50 something credits? Let's start with like 10 dice just for funsy. No, that's 8. Yeah, let's start with 8. 4 times multiplier, so that's gonna be not 4 times, 5 times, because I excluded 4 dice. Rolling the other 4. Oh wow, I earned 0 times 5. The minimum is 5 because that's my multiplier, so I earned 5 credits. Just goes to show you, it can happen still. Even if you are rolling 4 dice. Minimum your multiplier. Okay, so if you earn at least 1 credit or 2 credits if your multiplier is higher. Let's do another. Now that's more like it. 7 times 5 is 35. And I rolled pretty high. Only 1 die did not roll a number, and others rolled 2, 2, and 3. So you know what? Let's add 2 more dice. Now it's gonna be a 6 times multiplier and 5 dice. Yeah, that's just 18 credits. Lame. Let's try again. Oh, even worse. 6 credits. That's a total of 30. You know what? Let's just keep the numbers and reroll until everything is 3 or less. Okay, so this is 11 times 6 is 66, which is better than 52, the maximum haul you could have from a heist, even if you were maximum height. Although, to be real, you could still have something extra because of these. Yeah, you could have a gemstone, which is not just 21 but 31. If you carried 2 gemstones, that's 62 credits. And if you are to carry something made out of silver, whatever it is, at a weight of 2 plus 4, that's gonna be weight of 6, 21 plus 20 is 41. So let's just assume everything that you are carrying is made out of silver, because this is probably as good as it gets. 6, 6 and 4, 21, 21, 10, and yeah, that's 10. So a total of 52 plus 20 and 20 and 20. 112 credits all at once. It's gonna be difficult to beat with just a work task. Okay, lifestyle level 12. I'm gonna move 6 dice aside and roll the rest until all of them have numbers on them. Okay, that's 4 of them. Number 5 and number 6. And plenty of 3s. 14 times 7. 49 times 2, that's 118. Compared to 112, yeah, just barely makes more money than a maximum haul from a heist. It is a bit troubling, I have to admit. I don't know yet how to solve all these problems. Maybe I should just try to increase all the costs. But then again, that's gonna mess with a lot of math, a lot of stuff. I just ran out of water. Alright, let me just do this, and I will be right back. let's get back to it. I've been at it for 2 hours officially, including my little break right now. I have my water refilled, it is a couple of minutes past midnight. And I need to come up with more apps. Honestly, I'm running out of ideas here. Influence, Daredevil, Fixer. Yeah, the only decent ideas I have for apps, other than those 6 that I have already listed, are either someone who will construct items out of random materials in a room, or someone who hacks the communicators of his enemies. And like, the enemy communicators part is, it feels too much like hacking, like the Hex app, which is not that desirable. It just feels weird because then someone who has hacks could be like, ooh, can I hack his communicators and disable them? Turn them, shut them down? And the GM will be like, well, that is actually this player's thing, but it is a Runehack device, you could theoretically target it. In other words, yeah, the communicators hacker is a no-go. As for the other one, construction out of random items you find in a room, that could work. I could see it working, because that would have the neat mechanic of you rolling your dice whenever you enter an area to see what items are there, and then you could put these items together to create something. And that is neat on paper. In practice, yeah, in practice I would have to come up with crafting recipes now based on the items that you find in a room. And then there's the problem of how do you determine which items can or cannot you craft? How do upgrades work in this case? It just feels like a no-go either way. I don't know. I feel like I'm creatively stuck outside of that. Outside of these 6 apps which I have defined. And the problem with 6 apps is that once I introduce the option for the player to pick up a second app, there will be repeats in most groups. Unless I would happen to have a group of 3 players exactly, some players will have identical applications, and that's just undesirable. In theory, I could imagine a group of 6 players playing this game, and if I wanted to ensure that everyone has different character builds, I would need 12 different apps. 2 times more than what I have currently. And the biggest issue I have with coming up with new apps is that the ones I came up with already target pretty much everything. We have Grasper, which targets technically items. You can telekinetically move items and small people, I guess. In some cases also bigger people. The point is just, this is targeting items mostly. This is targeting areas. This is targeting pretty much empty space in an area. You create something in there. This is targeting Runehack devices, which is different from items, because this interfaces with them while the items are just moved around. This interacts with you. This interacts with enemies. Oh yeah, I do have one more actually. The Link app. So let's deal with that. Also, they are not alphabetically ordered yet. Enhance has to be somewhere close to the start. Between the main and Lucy. Grasper has to be moved down. The main, enhance, yeah, above Lucy. Hex has to be moved down, up a little. Or maybe I move Lucy down. And that should be it. Domain, enhance, Grasper, Hex, Lucy, Sway. And finally we have a Link just above the Lucy. Wait. Oh, okay. I don't know if this is an iconic way of connecting with others. But for now, let's just go with that, I guess. Or maybe just the movement one. I forget what I called the imprison thingy. Captive. You know what? Instead of going with the typical like, ooh, how many people can it connect to? Because that could get overpowered really fast. Instead, I think I will go with something like, how far away can you be? It's a start. Mm. Oh, come on. Your target can see anything. This one is even worse. Okay. Let's just do it like this. It's for upgrade, a little less than all the other ones, but or most. I think there was one that had just for, yeah, Cresper. Okay. So that's 7 apps, which is an awful number to have. It is better than 6, sure, but now I cannot arrange them into a nice little grid, and that just frustrates me more than I am willing to admit. Not to mention these amounts of upgrades feel lackluster. Like something that the players could get in, what, 5 sessions? If they could get good hauls. And if they don't, hell, even just 10 sessions, that's like... if you are playing on a bi-weekly basis, 10 sessions is something that you will do within 5 months. 4.5 to be exact. Hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Good enough for now, I guess. It still feels like a math problem, but then again, I don't know yet how else I should resolve that. For now, at least I can say that it is in a somewhat playable state. Hooray, I did it! Runehack Fairy Heist is in a playable, playtestable state. I don't feel all that excited, but then again, it's not looking like much right now, and it still feels incomplete. Like I could add more details on how to play the big folks, how to play the game so that it is somewhat fair to the players, and so on and so forth. And of course, I need more apps. I need more app ideas right now. Not right now. This is an issue I've been having for however long I've had my files related to this. Let's see. Very Heist update. Mm, open version history? No. Uh, open in System Explorer. Properties. It is set to be modified at November 18th. Created at November 24th. In other words, this is something I have been thinking about for months at this point. Uh, January, December, November, at least 3 months. And I still haven't come up with good ideas for apps beyond the 7 that I have here. And the ones that did not work out. I can tell you which ones also did not work out. I considered the hard light app, which would be like an illusion but made out of hard light, which it's not awful idea. The problem is that it overlaps with Lucy. It can just be an upgrade, and it is now. Right, what else did I have? The communicators? That is just what hacks could do. Easy. Hmm. What else? I did have an idea for an app that could control a runebot body, which would be kind of like a fake guard. But the problem with that is that it's gonna feel less like a fairy heist and more like, ooh, you know, you have your pet technically, but in practice it feels more like a walking fortress. Okay, what else did I have? Destroy. That one I liked a lot, but it also has its problems. Because what exactly do you destroy? That's right, it depends on what the GM puts in there. You could explain destruction of glass through through illusions, it's just telekinesis, alright. I could explain burning something flammable, alright, fair enough. But it's gonna depend largely on what exactly the GM includes on the map, and if you have set upgrade for the destroy app. So that's a no-go also. Construction, that's the one where you put together stuff. Cancellation is also another app that I have considered, which is just making rune tech or illusions in general not work in an area. In theory, it sounds useful, sure. The downside is that this app would therefore render rune cards in that area unusable. That's a no-go. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel tired because I've been sitting on this for months at this point, and this is pretty much the best I could come up with. I could, in theory, off stream, come up with more upgrades for some of these. Maybe clean up the wording, shorten stuff even more. And the goal has been achieved in a way. Like this feels like an ability from a MOBA game, and you will have only a couple of them at a time. So that works. But the world building of Runehack doesn't allow for more than this. Either that, or it's the way I have structured my apps, because each one targets something different. Like I mentioned before, this one is for areas, this one is for yourself, this one is for specific items, this one is for rune tech, this one is for allies, this one is for literal empty space, and this one is for enemies. I don't know what else could they reliably target. Maybe passages? But that's a bit of a stretch, especially considering that domain could cover passages. What else could it cover? Walls? And what do you do with the wall? Do you destroy it? That's the only thing. And even then, it's a stretch. So what else is there to target? The nukes? I don't know. It sounds plausible, like yeah, you could target a nuke in which a fairy could hide, but it feels too specific. It is reliable. There are gonna be nukes all over the map, but I am still not a fan. Targeting items, that's already a grasper thing. Targeting boxes in which the fairy could be captured. That is also very specific. It is something that the Grasper could do in theory. Yeah. I just have nothing else. That's it. That's everything. That's all, folks. It is frustrating to me. It is so frustrating. I do have some ideas that I could use in order to get more apps, not apps, more abilities in this game, which would not be runic, but I've been saving that for the longest time, and even now, years after I made that app first, I don't know if the Runehack is ready for it just yet, and it's not the apps. It's not the apps, so it would feel weird because it's something completely different. Yeah, I'm out of ideas. I will probably try to do more research online and see if I can come up with anything else. But right now, I feel like I'm creatively drained. I can say, at least, that this game now feels like it is finished in a playable state, but next time I'm either gonna play a video game on a stream or I will start a different creative project or maybe return to one of my other projects in order to update it. Either way, I think that's all. Oh, this was a ride? At least now it feels complete. It is ready for playtest, but now it's time to finish it, to wrap up the stream. This is not the end though. This is just the beginning of a whole another journey. Who knows? Maybe, maybe if I feel like it, I could make an actual video instead of a stream. Maybe, hmm, maybe I could make 2 videos. Editing is pain though. And you know what would help with that? Having a team. A specialized team of people. Except I don't feel like employing anything, but still, just imagine it. One person doing something, then someone else doing something else, all working together in order to rob me of all my money. Wait, what? Right. I I think I've just heard something. I'm not sure if it's a person or not. Could be a fairy, for all I know. Oh shit, it is a fairy. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. See you all. Have a great evening, a great century. Bye.